Oh, yeah, you know what time it is. 6 a.m. Bud Light presents the Butch Lord Radio Roadshow.
We are everywhere!
We are everywhere. Check your head. That's right. I'm going to need my head checked because I had 10 days in Sturgis. I believe I need my head checked. Joby probably needs a couple other things checked. How about you? He disappeared for a minute. Sturgis is a weird place, all right? I know we had a blast there. Sturgis was awesome. We were off the air. We did do a repeat. We did an encore restart of the show. And both fans noticed. Actually, it was one fan and a sponsor. And they were both pissed. But that's all right. We're back on the air, man. Butch Lord Radio Roadshow. Got great audio. We were up in Sturgis, like I said, 10 days. On the way out there, we took a little dip. Went down to St. Louis to catch Pauly Shore. Tried to grab an interview with my buddy there. He was playing at the Comedy Etc. there in St. Louis, Metro East, Fairview Heights, Illinois, at the Comedy Etc. And he didn't have time for an interview, but I was able to get audio of him sucking on stage. So I might play some of that later. We're gonna
Stick to crappy movies.
I didn't say that. That was not me. That was Joe Glarner. I'm throwing his name out there. Throw you under the bus. Glarner Group Productions. Joe Glarner. He's the one who said that. I actually have no opinion. I've never seen one of Pauly's movies, but I have seen Pauly live, and usually a great show. A little stiff crowd that night over there in St. Louis. But a great time. Good to see Pauly. And darn it, we'll catch up with him down the road, I'm sure. But he can actually feel good about that weekend because his show was way better than Axl Rose's show. It was way better. I can vouch. I was at both shows, and Pauly's was way better than Axl's. And see, you can actually catch Pauly again. That was the only opportunity to catch Axl in North America this year. Thank goodness, because Lord knows, he does not want to repeat that in North America. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Actually, I got people to vouch. I won't be the only one. I will ask other people. That's not my business. I'm a fan. I love it. Use Your Illusion rocked.
Everybody that we get on the horn, we should call them up and see what their thoughts were of the GNR show at Sturgis.
We will. That's what we'll do. We'll make sure that every interview from Sturgis also ends with a review of the Guns N' Roses show. That way, we'll know where I come from. Because I'm a huge fan. I was there. Use Your Illusion. 1990. Woohoo. But, yeah, it was dangerous up there, man. Because he did pulled the Axl, I'm going to show up late routine for a bunch of bikers. All of a sudden, full beer cans are flying at the stage. Joby's like, we're getting out of here. I'm like, dude, we're moving up, dude, because I'm getting me some video for CNN if this breaks into a riot. But darn it, it didn't. It flattened out because Axl came out and started playing, and people started racing for the exits. So broke the riot up nicely, though. So we're back on the air, back from Sturgis, South Dakota, the Black Hills Rally, 750,000 people in a town the size of Frewsburg. Hell yeah. Man, that was I got to tell you about Sturgis. It was my first time ever. Now, a lot of our listeners have probably been to Sturgis, and they know better than me. My first time there, people told me you can get stuck in one place in Sturgis and never leave. You could end up going to one of the campgrounds, Glencoe, or the legendary Buffalo Chip campground, and actually never leave that spot because there's just so much going on everywhere. And actually, that's what happened to me. I got sucked into the Rock and Rev Festival that was at Monkey Rock, which is a real cool bar right across the street from the old Full Throttle Saloon there, that $1 Million Saloon on Lifetime. That's a cool joint. We went over there. Woohoo! How about ya? It's like, hey, man, where can I get a $5 Coors Light and some attitude from a door guy? Right here, man. We got 3 clubs of that. Right here. Come on. No, actually, it was great, man. Lifetime was in there shooting cameras. Naughty Hottie standing on the bar blowing fire. Full Throttle was pretty cool, man. I liked it. Got some, I was over there for a half a second. I actually, like I said, though, I was stuck across the street at the Rock and Rev, which is presented by HD Logics, and we got to talk to those cats later, and the people who put this huge show on. It was a week of great concerts. Every night was a different headliner, a different kind of theme to it, I guess. Covers the new rock spectrum across the board, man. Everything you wanted to see from new rock was there. The first night was Godsmack Hell Yeah. There was Stone Temple Pilots was one of the nights. Creed was one of the nights. Avenged Sevenfold was one of the nights. Just every night, headlining concerts and 3 or 4 headliners per day. They would start at 5 o'clock and go till midnight. They were great concerts every night. And that was just at one campground. The same thing was happening right down the street at the legendary Buffalo Chip. They had Bob Dylan one night, Kid Rock one night, Motley Crue one night, Ozzy Osbourne one night. And with each one of those headliners was lots of kick-ass bands. Hell, Full Throttle right across the street, the bar had, you know, cool stuff like who's the dorkalope from Poison? What's his name? He's got the little shit. Bret Michaels. Bret Michaels was yeah.
Back from his brain aneurysm?
Yeah, back from the brain aneurysm and hanging out in Sturgis.
Right from that bandana he had tied around his head.
No, they poked one too many of them implants in. They poked an implant too deep is what I think happened. Boom! Ow! Santa Maria! That's my ponytail. But he's got those hair thingies. But apparently he paid great cash. That's the only episode I ever saw of Bret Michaels' reality show was him defending the do. And I saw it because it was like on an episode of that Talk Soup or something.
What about all that makeup?
Right? I wonder if he was still wearing that makeup. I don't know. If he was still wearing makeup, I doubt he wore it in Sturgis. I know I wouldn't wear makeup in Sturgis. But I would get painted in Sturgis. And we saw naughty hotties getting painted. That's another thing. You know, it was really great because we made a lot of friends there at Monkey Rock. Like I said, at Sturgis, you can go from one of them events. And we did. We went to the legendary Buffalo Chip. We actually got an interview with Mike Sanborn, who's head publicist for the Buffalo Chip. He gave us the history of it and the breakdown of it. And we actually talked to a couple of characters that have been regulars there since the very first time when they actually, what happened is they kicked the Sturgis celebration out of downtown because it was getting a little too big for downtown Frewsburg or Sturgis. Depends on who's telling the story, but that's what it looked like. And but they kicked it out to a farmer's field, and that's where Buffalo Chip started. And so when they started out there, and it just grew from there. But this one cat, Crazy George, has been there since the beginning, and yeah, the effect is the effect on Crazy George is, well, just that. I think he was just George when they moved out there, and now he's Crazy George, but. You know, it's Sturgis, man. It's great, and it'll drive you nuts, man, and it's in a good way. And we actually were hosted by another cool thing, a great campground where these campgrounds would be more like what you would have found when the original Sturgis moved out to Buffalo Chip. Places like where we stayed at the Iron Horse, where they have a small bar and smaller bands playing, but still the same thing going. Campers by the hundreds, you know, and just everybody from everywhere, bikes and campers and the whole nine going on, plus the entertainment, the bands and everything, barbecues and all that. Same as the big campgrounds, and they're just right there too. Sturgis is so small, everything's down in this little area, you know, everything's not too far. And you can actually get caught up in any one of them places, man, and just spend your whole time there and never leave. And that's kind of, like I said, what happened to us, being stuck at Rock and Rev most of the time. But we did get over to Buffalo Chip. I did get into downtown Sturgis. I did get to ride a Lakota chopper in Sturgis. All right, it was around the parking lot. But hey, it was cool. And I waited a week for chicks to look at me like that. Dang it. Chicks dig dudes on choppers. That's all I'm saying. And that's the other thing. There are a ton of bikes there and smoking hotties and the whole nine. So you got to go to the website and see all this. I got total website footage, all the hotties, all the bikes. There were a bunch of builders there. There were a lot of artists. You know, that's what I ran into, and I found out that all those cool concerts and everything, it was really just background noise to the rally, the Black Hills Rally, Sturgis, and all the people that come there. And we met all kinds of great people, the artists who are involved in coming there and, you know, working it like any other big event. Like we met Mark Reed, who's a master body painter, and he does these, there's a big market for these types of things. You see them for advertisements, chicks fully painted, you know, like comes to mind that Budweiser, the famous Budweiser, speaking of and those types of full body paints. It's a whole art thing, and he's involved in it and one of the best in the world. And he was there and painting chicks up to match up with classic bikes, and it was a really cool thing to see. We talked to Mark, but also there were like the bikers, you know. I met guys from the Booze Fighters, who I've known for years out of Fort Worth. They used to come to my shows down there in Fort Worth, a bunch of them, which is where the original Booze Fighters are. And I met up with some big cats that are, one guy's a chapter president now, Chaos, out of San Antonio and Austin. And they got a tattoo shop down there, and we were hanging out with those guys. They were inking people all the week long and stuff, bringing their art to Sturgis. That type of stuff was going on. So we met a lot of them, and we found out, like I said, those big concerts were just background noise to the people that were there. And we got lots of good interviews. We've got the guys who run Monkey Rock, a guy named John, who's the owner of Monkey Rock, and he's from Australia, and he's got a great story himself. And he was a cool host for us all week long. And the guys from HD Logic, the people behind making HD into 3D, they were the cats who threw the show. And they threw the event, they threw that big party, brought in all those bands to rehearse shooting in 3D concerts, because that's the next. They developed 3D, and the three things people want most in 3D that they want to see are live concerts, live sporting events, and adult entertainment. So they've got, oh, now I got your attention. Yeah. So they've got, yeah, you were falling asleep right there. No, wait, no. 3D, adult, yes. 3D, adult entertainment, yes. That is, how about you? That is one step away from Cyber Kong Kong. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. Actually, they actually hooked up with Penthouse, and the Penthouse girls were there. How about you? Yeah, I got to checking out the Penthouse ladies, the Penthouse hotties, Pet of the Year, and the runner-up. They'll be on the website. Check them out. We also talked with the guys from HD Logics, because the thing about what they do is they take regular HD. They don't need to shoot like the old 3D cameras. And we talked to those cats about their developing a technology where they can just take HD and computers generate a 3D image. And it's really cool. I actually witnessed it firsthand, sitting on a bike being shot with a green back, boom, 3D, pow. All that you can see on the website. We got more. We got audio. We got Sturgis. We got the real story. We got locals. Talked with Pat, my buddy, my new Sturgis Connect, who grew up in Sturgis, and talks about how it mellowed out, you know, when he was a young kid. His actually 10-year-old kids were running around behind us having a good time as they were tearing down the event. I was speaking with him on the last day. We hung out all week long, but it was the last day, and his kids were tearing stuff up. And he goes, yeah, when I was that age, I was watching, you know, wild stuff going on. You know, there was, you know, weird stuff. It was Sturgis. It was legend. It was what you thought it was. It's mellowed out quite a bit, he told me. So, yeah, we found the real story at Sturgis to be the story of the people there. That's the people who came from all around and the people who host that party year after year. And we got to talking to all of them. We felt like that was the real story, and we're going to bring it to you right here on the Butch Lloyd Radio Roadshow. Audio next, live from Sturgis. Or on the phone, or in the MP3. You know, audio from Sturgis. Shut up. Butch Lloyd Radio Roadshow. Turn it up.
I want to do a T-shirt where it says, prosecution, $12 million, incarceration, $100,000, publicity, priceless.
Yeah! See that, Tommy Chong, still a marketing genius. I think that's a great idea. I need a T-shirt, too. After doing this show, after 10,000 miles on the road in the Saturn, it's like my T-shirt would be gas, $320, pot, $980. First interview on my radio show with Tommy Chong, priceless. And it has been priceless, man. The whole process, the whole project's been great. I asked Tommy what he thought of the show and how much fun he had. This is what he had to say.
They got some of the silliest, but some of the funniest shit you ever seen in your life. I enjoyed it more than I should have, I guess. Hey, this is Tommy Chong, man, and you're listening to Butch Lloyd, who, by the way, used to be my favorite dealer of all times.
Yeah, that was Tommy Chong. You're listening to the Butch Lloyd Radio Roadshow. Back with more in a minute.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Push-Up Bra Inventor.
Mr. Push-Up Bra Inventor.
Never before has one man done so much with so little.
Lifting them higher.
From mosquito bites, pimples, and pancakes to melons, mountains, and major league yabos. An engineering feat so brilliant it can only be described as va-va-va-voom. Thanks to you, even a 90-year-old grandmother can go from A to double D in a single bound.
What's your number, Granny?
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh hoister of the Hooter, because when it comes to the bust, you're the best.